Listen. If you was supposed teacher went viral for talking crazy to the student, then she got here and got upset.
And walked out the interview.
Ooh, honey. But under no circumstances. You come home and you tell me and I'll handle it. But you don't get to talk crazy or be disrespectful to your teachers or any adult for that matter.
Yeah.
I told you won't look at them. Look at them.
Yeah, that'd be all the ammunition they need right there. Then you have some people probably pulling for you. Then
they'll be like, what that man said to that woman. He probably tried to say something crazy.
They start hating me.
Yeah, it's always gonna be. I'm gonna tell you this. I want like of course to talk about my center and stuff. But I know where you may have 20 people fighting for you. It may be 40, 45, 50 in the background. It's like, yeah, we go find out some bad stuff because it's in some people's nature to be negative.
Right.
Everybody is not thinking positively. Like I said, and it's not, I don't want to say it's necessarily negative that the parents who were upset about it. Because like I said, maybe they parent different.
Right.
Maybe they parent different.
But thank you, for agreeing to the interview.
You're welcome.
Because I haven't did one of these in like over a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took a little break, mix of just being burned out, stuff like that. So I knew I wanted to start back. I was like, but who am I going to get? Who can I start with? And then my wife showed me a video. I like,
oh, God.
Look at God.
You didn't say look at God, did you?
I said, look at God. I see something here. So that's when I reached out to you like, hey, let's have a discussion. Not about that.
Right.
But let's just have a general discussion because that opened up so many other different topics and things that we need to, discuss. That'd be helpful.
Right.
But just to start off, I mean, when did you know you want to become a teacher?
I've always loved working with children. And if I had to listen to my mom, God bless her soul, I would be close to retirement right now. My mama told me that I was supposed to be a teacher. I always knew I liked to work with children. I went and got my degree in psychology from Southern in Baton Rouge. And I worked at a mental health center. But even before I worked there, I volunteered at the detention center here in Shreveport.
Okay.
And I did my intern at the detention center in Baton Rouge. And when I became a mental health specialist, I always went into the schools. And I knew I was like, I got to just get back into school and just go ahead on and teach. So I went back and got certified.
Okay.
I always wanted to work. I knew if I didn't be a teacher, I was going to be a social worker. But in whatever capacity, I was going to be working with children.
Okay. How long you been teaching?
13 years as a certified teacher. 13 long years.
13 long years.
13 long years. But you know what? There's never a dull day in teaching. And I say the good outweighs the bad. Okay. Definitely outweighs the bad. Because, as I spoke with, some people that I had to speak with, before Cato, is anybody on Midway or any of the principals or teachers in the classrooms in the schools, Cato is, the children. And I was saying, if we don't have any children, then they don't have a need for teachers. You understand? So if there's no children, they don't need teachers. They don't need anybody on Midway. They don't need any of us if we don't have the children to come in.
Right. Well, thank you. And thank all the teachers for what y'all do because y'all spend more time with our kids than we do. Right? I mean, y'all went, 7, 8 hours a day? They come home, we with them maybe about 4. Then it's time for bed and, you got to get ready for the next day. So. And
that's those parents who maybe don't have schedules like, from 3 to 11.
Yep, that.
4 to 12.
Right.
Or, like the late shift, the evening shift. For the most part, we teachers do spend most of the time. And believe it or not, oftentimes, our children, once we develop relationships with them, they'll have our number and they'll call us after hours. Because I've had, with this, what has transpired, I've had, one of my students that I favor, he has called and checked on me and asked when I'm coming back. Like, we as teachers, as I was saying, we don't do a 7 to 3. It has never been a 7 to 3 job. Get there in the morning, when the children get there with teaching, then it's over. It's never been that. If you are truly a teacher, you put in way more hours than 7 to 3, and not just with grading papers and lesson plans. Once you get a set of children, I know they say, oh, well, you shouldn't have favorites. That's unrealistic. Most teachers favor the child that, that has, good behavior. And then sometimes our heart goes out to the child we know that needs us. Mm-hmm. So, teaching is never a 7 to 3 job. You know, we extend ourselves in many, many ways, way more than just grading papers and teaching them the curriculum. We really extend ourselves, those of us who, you know, go above and beyond.
Right, right. So let's just touch on this. You had a video, went viral,
Right.
went everywhere.
Right.
There's been discussions on both sides.
Right.
Some pro, some against.
Right.
But I know we can't discuss really the details of what happened and all that. But how has your life changed since then?
Okay. As you said, for the most part, there were a plethora of parents and pretty much all of the teachers that favored what I did. But let me just say this. By no means do I want anybody to think that I'm in my classroom talking crazy to my children. By no means.
Okay.
I'm old fashioned because I'm old school and new school, if I can say so. My mom, like I said, was born in the 60s. Her mom, the 20s, and her mom was born in the 1800s. I was reared by all of those. And with the way I was raised, you know, children speak when they're spoken to. You don't interrupt an adult when they're talking. And a child is to stay in a child's place. When adults are talking, children go play. And I understand that the newer generation may do things a little different. And I have to respect that. I do. I may not like it, but I have to respect it because I understand different parents raise their children differently. From that video going viral, you know, I wanted to, you know, explain, you know, a few things, you know, because I understand that it may have sounded harsh. And that's not the way I wanted to come off. That's not the way I am in my classroom. But, you know, sometimes we do have to get onto our children. When I said play with the one who loves you the most, I tell my children all the time, I love you, but not as much as your mom does. The real world is not going to care about your feelings. You all are teenagers right now. The things that you all are doing will follow you. You have to learn to make better decisions. That's all I was saying. That is simply all I was saying when I said play with the one who loves you the most. Your mom, I love you, but not as much as your mom loves you. So what your mom take off you, I don't have to take it because I'm your teacher. I love you, but not as much as she does. That's all I was saying. And also, when I said, oh, I got my degrees, you need to get yours. Please I come from very humble beginnings. Very humble beginnings. Those who are familiar with Cedar Grove and Amanda Clark, that was our government cheese building. You could walk out of my backyard, take 15 steps, and you would be in the yard of the government cheese building. I mean, the building that, you know, gave out government assistance. You know, I hear, you know, we make jokes on social media. Everybody talks about the cheese. My grandmother, when I went over there with her, she got those raisins that was in that white box. She got the peanut butter with the white wrapping. And she got those cornflakes that was in the white box. I come from very humble beginnings. So by no means do I want someone to think that I'm in there, oh, I got this. Because I know just like anybody else, one check from being on the streets. So my biggest thing was when this went viral, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm in my classroom mistreating my children or talking to them any type of way. I take what I do very serious, very serious. When those children are with me, they're my responsibility. And if something happens to them, I'll be held accountable. And the first thing the parent is going to ask, where was your teacher? What did your teacher do? So I take what I do very seriously. If I may say, listen, I don't even do referrals. I've done one referral this year. I have 2 6th grade classes and 8th grade class. I've only done one referral. In all of my 13 years, I may have three referrals under my name. I don't believe in doing them. If I write you up, I can't teach you. If I write you up, I don't know. I'm realistic in saying some of my children may get in trouble later on in life. I don't want them coming back looking at my records and seeing my name on a referral for a child I had to teach. I don't want to do it to them. I'm realistic. You know, like I said, I've had children to live with me. I've gone to graduations. I've gone to funerals, as well as visited CCC. I don't want to put anything on any of my children's records that may hunt them later on down the line. So my biggest thing with that video, that recording going viral, was my concern in my parents or anyone else for that matter thinking I'm in my classroom mistreating my children, because God knows I am not. And I have children from past and present that will speak on my behalf. I love what I do. Just think, I've been teaching for 13 years. I've been a certified teacher for 13 years. It's common knowledge. Teachers don't make a lot of money. That's common knowledge. Do you think I was staying it this long You know, if I just was in there just to mistreat somebody's child and I'm not making a whole lot of money, I'm in it because I love what I do. I genuinely love what I do. And if I'm not working with children, I'm not going to be on the job long.
Right. So did you get any like crazy inboxes, stuff like that? Any kind of little threats? 'Cause I know people could be crazy.
I absolutely didn't. I only got words of encouragement.
Okay.
You know, and I was overwhelmed because, like I said, I'm no fool. You know, I know this could have gone. You know, this was an eye opener for me. This could have gone the complete opposite. I could have had more people in the negative than the positive, but God, it was more people in the positive, and they were on my side and they were fighting for me. And God knows I'm grateful because God knows my heart, and you know He worked it all out for me. I can only say, but God. I only got words of encouragement. I only got positivity. I'm in the process of opening up a child care center. And you know, I had a young lady who did something nice to me. She said, you should make an Amazon wish list and, you know, share it. Do you know almost everything on my Amazon wish list has been purchased for me? I've taught all over Shreveport. Though and this is no brag. God knows it's not. I am a hardworking, dedicated teacher. Those who know me, you can look back on my social media page. Every year, I ask for it. You know, can you all donate? Can you all donate? And people donate to me because they know I'm going to put it into my classroom. They know I am. They know how I feel about my children. They know how I feel about teaching. This was my calling. This is not just something I do. This was my calling. I was born to be an educator. I was.
That's dope. Let's do some education. Speaking of educator. We know there's a lot of challenges teachers face. Challenges now that probably didn't exist 5 and 10 years ago, right? And maybe they did.
Right.
So what are some of the biggest challenges that you as teachers face? Now, this might be a good time to educate the community of stuff they don't see or they don't think about that y'all face as teachers. Like I said before, y'all spend more time with our children than anybody. So we need to know how to do our part to help the teachers out.
This is I think I can pretty much speak for most teachers when I say this. I understand that every parent loves their child because God knows I love mine.
Right.
But in the process, you know, of getting their child out the car or their child getting off the bus, they may not be the same child that left the house. And then maybe they are, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
But oftentimes, you know, we don't like to think that our child is doing things that they know they have no business doing. I've asked my parents in the past and present, if for any reason your child comes home and tells you something that I may or may not have done, before you go to my principal, talk to me first. I am willing to work with any parent that works with me. If the child knows that the parent and the teacher are on the same accord, that child is going to stand down. What we teachers need is for the parents to work with us. That's it. And I'm not saying all parents don't, because I've had some parents that were absolutely awesome. You know, have even said, oh, Miss Gray, well, you can whip his butt. Oh, no, I can't whip his butt. But, you know, they'll be like, I come to that school. I've even had to call a parent this year. I called a parent one time, and this was for one of my 8th graders. I have not had not one problem out of him since. One time I called her. No more problems since. You have some parents that will work with you, and then you have some parents that are more so like, well, what did the teacher do to my child? I can be realistic and say, maybe, because I'm not saying for definite, maybe at some point in time, maybe a teacher may have or may have not said some things that they shouldn't have said. I can't say that they have because I haven't witnessed anything like that. But before you go to the principal or before you go to the school board, talk with the teacher. We're always willing to talk to our parents, especially if it may have been a child that has been causing us problems. If we've called home on numerous occasions and the number is no longer in service, or if the parent can't pick up the phone. If you decide to call us at any point in time, we're willing to talk because we want to go to you before we write a referral. We have to go to the parent before we can just write this child up. As I've stated, I haven't even written any referrals this year, and I could tell you a plethora of things that has gone on that referrals should have been written. But I feel like, let me give this child another chance. If I write them up, then ISS, we can't teach a child in ISS. That's an ISS facilitator. That's not the teacher. If I write a child up, this child gets sent home. They may be at home watching TV or playing on the game. They're not getting any education. What we as teachers need desperately is for the parents to work with us. I understand them advocating for their child because I'm going to advocate for mine as well. But before you say this teacher does not like my child or this teacher is doing this to my child, try having a conversation with this teacher. I guarantee you 98% of the time they'll be like, I've had a parent, that teacher ain't did nothing to you. That's your behind. That teacher hadn't done anything to you. This is only after you have developed a relationship with the teacher. You know, with the pandemic going on, we can't really do back to school night like we used to. We can't really have face-to-face conferences. And I think that, like with the pandemic, I think that has caused the rifts, you know, even more so with the parents and teachers. We can't see each other face to face. You know, a Zoom meeting, you still don't get that personable feeling like, you know, and getting vibes from that teacher or vibes from that parent.
Exactly.
So this pandemic has really, not only has it affected our children academically, you know, it has affected, you know, them emotionally because it has affected us teachers. It has affected us in many ways that has set us back a whole lot. We just need the parents to work with us more than anything. We don't want them, none of us want them to think that we're mistreating their children. All we're asking is that the parents work with us. Before you go to our principal, before you go to the school board, talk to your teacher. And if you're still not satisfied, hey, it's out of the teacher's hands. It's nothing you can do. You try talking to that teacher. Then talk to the principal. Then if you're still not satisfied, then take it to the school board. But don't just send us up the river when we're here, when we're here to educate your child. Don't just send us up the river and say, oh, well, that teacher's not doing her job. How can you say that when you're not in our classroom? You know, oftentimes children will get upset with their teachers and they will go home and tell their parents things because they're upset. If I can give you an example. About 4 years ago, I taught at a school. I won't say where because I don't want to, you know, throw anyone. I taught at a school. For whatever reason, the parent didn't like me. You know, I had to get on to her child for bullying because this child, the young lady was really tall, you know, for 6th grade. She was really, really tall. And I had to get on to her. The child respected me. The child told me, Miss King, I begged my mama to buy you something for Teachers Appreciation Week. She didn't want to, but I begged her. I kept on asking her. And the child brought me my Teacher Appreciation gift. Now I'm like, how is it that your child like me and you don't? Your child is in the classroom with me every day. What have I done to you? Your child loves me. So we just need the parents to work with us. We need to be a team. We're not there to fight against them. We're not there just to call and tell them negative things about their child. Mm-hmm. We're trying to help everybody. Now, granted, as I said, I know every teacher may not be this way. But those of us who have been in it for years and years and years, trust me, we're not in it for the money. We don't make a whole lot. We're in it because we love. I know I love what I do. And I am adamant about making sure my children get the best education possible. And I be on them like white on rice. I do. But it's only because I care. That's it. It's only because I care. For no other reason. I enjoy what I do, and I want my children to do well.
So I heard there's a teacher shortage.
There is.
So what could be done to correct that? Because we need teachers. And if there's a shortage, this is going to cause a problem.
This is what I'll say. As you heard me say just now, you know, we don't make a whole lot of money.
Right.
You know, and oftentimes, like, as I stated, I'm opening up a child care center. But let me tell you why. Not only because I love children, but I was fine on my teacher salary. Just me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I lived, you know, I was comfortable with just my teacher salary.
Okay.
But I have a daughter who I want to put in, you know, I wanted to learn how to swim. I wanted to get tutoring. I want to be in other extracurricular activities. All that costs money.
Yes, it does.
And I just can't afford it as a teacher. As a teacher, most of us, like 99% of us, we have second jobs.
Wow.
We have second jobs. We have to do something else to compensate for the pay that we make. And again, I don't want to make it all about money, but In my opinion, I believe the shortage is because the pay and what we have to deal with as far as behavior problems. You know, some of us teachers are built different, as I'm sure you all would know. Some of us, we can handle the behavior problems. And then you have some like, I don't have to deal with this. Those of us who can deal with the behavior problems is because we love children. Yeah. Those of them who say, I don't have to deal with this, they was like, they don't pay me enough. You see where I'm coming from? We love what we do, so we'll stick it out. And we still advocate and we say we want more money. And we talk to our unions and we, say the governor, we need more pay. We still stick around. And then, like I said, you have those who like, I don't have to deal with this. They don't pay me enough. And the children are, the behavior is just too much.
Right.
Let me just say this. I thought this was kind of a funny, but I understand right now. When I first started teaching, this was like 09, 10. I remember a teacher, she quit. She had typed up a letter. She said, and I thought it was so funny, but I understand now because I'm living it. She said, these children are bad for my health. She slid it under the principal door and she quit.
Wow. Just like that, huh?
I thought it was so funny. I was like, they weren't that bad. They weren't that bad because, as I say, I'm from Cedar Grove. So, I have to understand. Sometimes you have to meet children where they are. You have to give them what they understand. So, I can accept, and I know the illest behaved child needs the most love. Because if you get that child on your side, the rest of the children will fall in line because I've been through a lot in Caddo. If you get the child that behaves, that acts out the most, if you get that child to behave for you, the rest of the class will fall in line with you. It's about developing relationships with the children. Because I'm going to tell you, the problem really isn't the children. Children only do what they are allowed to do. If children see that you care about them, if they know that you genuinely care, and that you're just not there to get a check because, they probably think teachers make a lot of money. They see us coming to school looking halfway decent.
Right.
If they see that you care about them, there is absolutely nothing those children won't do for you. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. The problem really isn't the children. And as you know, we stated we can't really speak about the incident that happened.
Right.
I'll say this. I would look like a fool staying angry with a child for something that he or she may have done. I would look like a fool. I know children only do what they are allowed to do. And I know peer pressure is real once children start becoming teenagers. Peer pressure is real. Because I've had children to act ugly and be disrespectful, and they'll wait and they'll come back and they'll apologize to me. So I look like a fool staying angry with a child that did something they know they had no business doing. I know peer pressure is real, and I know sometimes, children will act out, and sometimes it can just go too far, which is, I believe, what happened with it just, went too far. But right. I'm not upset with that child. I look like a fool staying upset with a child who's only doing what they may have been allowed to do in the past. Or maybe somewhere else. I don't know. But I can't stay angry with the child for doing something that they may not be punished for. All I can say is I have to make sure I'm well within doing what's right so I don't get in trouble. Again, I did not mean for this to go viral. Of course I didn't, because I didn't even know what was transpiring. I did not mean for this to go viral. But more than anything, I want all parents, all school, everyone to know I am not in my classroom talking to my children any type of way. My children know how I feel about them. I give them lectures all the time because I talk to them about they need to get it together. You're going to high school or you're going to the next grade. It's time for you to get more serious. I'm not saying they have to be serious all the time, but I want them to understand that you don't get do-overs in life. I tell them your transcript is going to follow you. So whatever grades you are making, there are no do-overs. Even in college, those who always ask me who plans to go to college. You may get that W for withdrawal, but it's still on your record. An I for incomplete is still on your record. I tell them you don't get do-overs in life. I told them you have cars that are repossessed, houses that are foreclosed on. But the education that you get, nobody can take that from you. Even if you just go to a 9th grade education, that's all the education that you got, but it's yours and nobody can take it from you. And you have to take your education serious because right now it's free. You get free lunch and you get a free education. There aren't a lot of things in life that's free. And I know I get on their nerves because I be like, oh, Lord, here come Miss King with all that talking again. But I do it because I want them to understand life is hard. I tell them all the time, there's going to be some things in life that you go see coming and you ain't going to do nothing about. It's going to be some things in life you won't see coming and you still won't be able to do anything about it. The best thing you can do for yourself is try to prepare yourself for life. And getting an education is one of the most important things. And I know I be getting on their nerves because they're teenagers. But I'm telling you, the children that I've taught, most of them come back. And they love me. And I love them too. They come back. They look for me. They find me. They find me on social media. I don't accept any friend requests now. Because like I said, I don't have any 8th grade friends. I don't have any friends as my children as my friends. I'm an adult. You are a child. I need you all to stay, in the child's place. But they come back and they find me. And they do thank me. And I tell them, I say, whatever I told you, I want you to remember, I told it to you. I think I'm just a little bit too preachy. And I understand they're teenagers and they don't be wanting to hear all of that. But I give it to them anyway.
But they remember it later.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
I want people to get a bigger picture. Like, and you don't really have to say if you don't want to. Like, what are some of like the worst things that's happened to you? Like, in the classroom? Like, have you been hit?
Well, let me just say this. We've had some children. For the most part, it's the cursing, the children will do. But here's the thing. I'm realistic. Mm-hmm. Children are going to do things they have no business doing when they think nobody is listening. Children, I even expect that from my own child, but I'm just going to be on it. And that's why I don't do the referrals. I'm realistic in knowing no child is going to behave all the time. If a child is always behaving, never talking, never doing anything, that's not even normal. And a child who misbehaves like on a level 10 all the time, that's not normal either. It has to be a balance.
Okay.
It's mainly the cursing. And now I've had some children accidentally, maybe hit me with something. And, probably the average teacher will write it up because, especially if I've already told you to stop. But I'm not there to be like, okay, I'm fixing to write you up. The time like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I've been hit a couple of times, like, a child was throwing a pencil at another student. I got hit in the lip, got a blood clot in my lip, but it wasn't on purpose. One girl, she was playing with the pencil one time. She popped it up in the air, hit me in the head, but it was an accident. And I can laugh about it because I know it wasn't on purpose. Right. And let me say this. When I say I'm going to get my lick back, I'm not finna touch on no people's children. But again, I'm only 4'11", so I have to go in with my wolf tickets. I have to make them think. Because, children will try you.
Yeah.
Children will try you. I don't even stand 5 feet tall. So, of course, they go try me. Pretty much all of my children are taller than me. So I have to go in with my wolf tickets to make them think I'm not hitting anybody's child to lose my career that I have to take care of my daughter with. No, sir. I can't do it. Now, I would have to press charges, but I'm not no fool. I'm going to be fighting nobody's child now. But no, I have to go in with my wolf tickets to make sure they take me serious, to not try me. But, I'll still have some who will.
So, got a phrase. Give me that phrase one more time.
Okay. Play with the one who love you the most, and that ain't me.
So, you trademarked that, right?
I did trademark it, and I did explain to some people. I trademarked it because I had and I know he wouldn't mind me saying his name. I have a classmate that I went to school with that's a comedian. His name is Tremel Prelo. And
okay.
You know Tremel? He's
I
a comedian.
don't know him personally, but I know who it is.
Right, we went to school together. He was a football player. I was a cheerleader.
Uh-huh.
He inboxed me. He said, Jessica, that phrase gonna go viral. I said, you think so? I was like, no. He screenshot and showed what somebody said to come in, and it got like 95 likes and laughs and stuff.
See there?
Yes, and he was like, he said, I'm finna get me a shirt made with that saying on there. I said, wait a minute, not before I trademark it. But everywhere I looked on everybody's page, someone was posting, play with who love you the most, Jessica from Cedar Grove. I was like, well, I see, you remember the guy who did, what are those? Mm-hmm. He came up with that saying and it went viral and everybody says it and he didn't make any profit from it and he passed away and he was very angry and bitter about it. And even if this phrase doesn't go any further than it already has gone, I was like, this was an opportunity, you know, and I didn't want to seem capitalistic, and I know it still probably came off that way.
Look, it's your phrase though.
Right, and again, I was saying I wasn't saying it to, you know, to go viral.
Right.
But
Just something you said.
Right, it was something I said and something I say all the time, and so I wasn't. But yeah, I was like, let me trademark it in the event that it does go somewhere, because one thing you can never have enough of is money.
That's right.
But let me explain this as well.
Okay.
In the event that I am successful as I want to be financially, my mom was a single parent for the most part. She put me, I remember coming home every weekend from Southern and Baton Rouge, her using her Exxon, her Chevron, her Texaco card to put gas in my car and to buy me groceries from Walmart. But what I remember the most, how expensive those books were. Those books were so expensive, $500+ every semester. God grants me what I pray that he grants me. I plan to give back. Have children write an essay because I want to know they at least have, you know, proper writing skills. I plan to give scholarships just for books alone. Just for books alone. Because they were so costly. I remember sharing books with people in class, or borrowing somebody's book, or paying them a certain amount of money so I could use their book. College is so costly, and my mom did it all by herself. All by herself. To whom much is given, much is required. God knows I'm going to give it. I plan to pay it forward.
Right. So for people that want to trademark something, what was that process?
Okay, it really wasn't that bad. You go to the website. I think it's USPTO.
Okay.
You go to their website. The very first thing they'll have you to do, type in your saying to see if anyone else has it.
Right.
And then after that, they walk you through it step by step, because I did have some people to inbox me about that. You asked about the inboxes. I had about 2 to 3 people ask me, how do you do a trademark? I gave them the website, I screenshot it, and I showed them the process, what they needed to click on first. And it's really a simple process. And it's $250. That's it.
Okay.
But just think that's a small price to pay if your trademark does go, you know, further than, you know.
What was that girl? Was that Cash Me Outside?
Yes. Blew up.
Right.
Blew completely up. Excuse me. So yeah, I did have some people ask me about how to trademark something, because I didn't know. I just Googled it.
Right.
Because my classmate, he was like, that's gonna go viral. And I didn't believe him. I was like, you think so? I was like, you know, he said, because he asked me, he said, let me ask you a question. He said, you made that up on your own? I said, yeah. I said, that's me. I said, that's me. I said, like, you know, my mom was born in the 60s. You know, people from the 60s, they came up with all type of stuff, all type of sayings.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, I had an old-fashioned mama, so I'm old-fashioned. I'm still new school too, but I'm old-fashioned for the most part.
So tell me about your new business venture.
Okay, as I've already stated, I am a complete lover of children. I remember, you know, I was really young asking about a child care center, and I am starting open registration Monday, December 7th, 2022.
Okay.
And I'm very excited. I'm scared. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm all of those things. I'm opening up a child care center, King's Academy Child Care and Learning Center. And this is my vision. I've always worked with, I've taught 4th, 5th, 6th, and I got this 8th grade class this year. I plan to teach basics. You know, of course, you know, we have a curriculum, Frog Street, that we'll have to follow. But more than anything, I plan to teach basic manners. You know, good morning, please, thank you, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. And of course, just like you say, we have the children for the most part of the day. We'll have those small babies more than their parents probably will.
Right.
I want to get them potty trained as early as possible, because Pampers are expensive, very expensive.
Yeah.
So we want to save some parents some money. I'm realistic in knowing that having a child, period, is expensive. And if they don't have to buy Pampers, you know, the Similac and all of that stuff, it's expensive, especially if you don't qualify for certain, you know, government assistance. It is expensive. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Expensive. So I plan to open my child care center, and I plan to give back. And I do plan to grow. But I am starting my registration Monday at 1905 Jewella Avenue, and it's right behind Cotton's Grocery. I was out yesterday in the freezing cold. My fingers felt like sticks, you know, putting my flyers up, you know, asking people, could I put my flyers? But God knows I plan to give back. He knows how much I love children, and he knows the difference I plan to make in any child's life I come in contact with. God knows. But I want my parents out there to know. I want everybody to know that I genuinely love children and I'm not mistreating any children and that I'm not in there just talking crazy to them. I can't emphasize that enough because I didn't want them to get that from that video. And as harsh as it may have sounded, it was at a moment where I was frustrated and, you know, I had been being, you know, talked to ugly and I just hadn't been treated right. And so it was at a moment, but not once, you know, did I say any profane language or, you know, talk specifically about anyone. But I was at a point where I was like, this is enough. But again, I'm not in my classroom talking crazy to anybody's child. I wouldn't even venture out and say, because in childcare, that's through the state. And it's completely different from the school. You can't raise your voice at children. Instead of saying, you too noisy. And I do this now with my own 4-year-old. I ask her, are you using your inside voice? You have to have a completely different approach with the smaller children. And I think I know I'll do really well with them because children take to me.
So what age is going to be for the child care center? For
my child care center, I'm taking 6 weeks. That's as soon as parents, you know, get off maternity leave.
Right.
6 weeks to 12 years in the after school program.
Oh, okay.
Right. 6 weeks to 12 years.
So is this what you're going to do full time and not go back to the school? Or are you going to do both? Or how is that going to work for you?
This is what I plan to do. I am taking a mental break from teaching right now. I'm taking a mental break. I'm realistic in knowing we all have things going on in our life. And by no means would I ever go into any interview and say anything bad about Cato. Because as I said, Cato are the children. You know, before it's anybody on Midway or a teacher or a principal, Cato are the children. And my first love is teaching. And I know with my smaller children I can teach, but with my big children, I like to develop relationships with them. I laugh and talk with them. I tell them personal things about me. I tell them about my mom who's deceased. I tell them about my dad, you know, who wasn't around much. I let them into my life so they'll understand that I'm not there to judge because mainly I'm taught in poverty-stricken areas. So I do still plan to teach. I have no intentions on leaving Cato right now. I love teaching. I can't state that enough. Teaching was my calling. If I had to listen to my mama, God bless, I would be close to retirement. And maybe I would retire, but at this point, I'm not ready to leave teaching alone. I'm just not ready right now. But I do plan, I'm taking a mental break because I need it. But I most definitely, because I got children who need me to get ready for testing. And one thing I do every year, you can ask my parents and my students, I get results. Because teachers, we be so stressed out about testing because we want the children to do well. I know the parents be stressed too because they want the children to do well, but we teachers, we be stressed too. And we be on it about the testing. So I wouldn't dare leave in the middle of the year and just say I quit. Right. Because I got something I have to finish. I've never been a quitter. Anybody who knows me know I don't quit. I have some children I still got to get to the finish line. And then I'll have the summer, and I know I'll be ready to start afresh the next school year.
Right. Well, Miss Jessica, this was very informative, and I think people would get a lot out. I know this conversation went a long conversation, but right. I think people would get a lot out of what they, heard from you, and you did educate us on some things that go on in the teacher environment.
Right.
So I appreciate you for stopping through. I appreciate you for sitting down and talking with me. I appreciate you getting me out of hibernation, because like I said, I haven't did one of these in over a year. So, it was time for me to come back out, and I'm glad I got a chance to sit down with you.
And I was glad to be able to sit down and explain myself, because more than anything, right. I wanted to explain myself.
Right. And I didn't see any other interviews out there that you've ever done. Anything.
I haven't done any.
All I saw was the clip and people saying what they want to say, but you really didn't get that chance to just kind of clarify
right.
exactly what happened. So I'm glad you got that chance, and look forward to you doing big things with your business venture. We might have to come pay a visit, just see what's going on up there. I would
love for you all to
get
come.
Get a little highlights and play with the kids a little bit,
I would love
Matter
for
of fact,
you all to come.
We're gonna stop through. We're gonna stop through and
that would be awesome.
Play with the kids and throw a ball or something.
Did you say throw a ball or something?
Yeah, whatever they doing. I haven't been around no little kids in a while, but appreciate you. And now, wait. You got any shout outs? Anybody you want to thank? Anything like that?
I do. Listen, I was very nervous about this interview. I was excited yet nervous. You see, I went and got my makeup done.
Okay.
Thank you, Candace Morris. She goes by Monk. She did my beat.
Okay.
What I really want to say more than anything, I will be opening my child care center. I want us to promote that more than anything. King's Academy Child Care and Learning Center at 1905 Joella Avenue, right behind Cotton's. Open registration is Monday. I am a highly certified teacher of over 10 years, and I do plan to get these children ready for Caddo. For those who are going into Caddo, I plan to get them ready. So I look forward to people coming and registering with me and bringing their children to grow with King's Academy. I do. I am so looking forward to it.
Well, Jessica, you are now a Takeover TV superstar.
What? What?
And there it is.